back up on my bullshit like I'm masterminding Watergate.
Quite an uneventful weekend in regards to music. The only thing that really happened was a neo-soul album from Jack Harlow. Look, I came in here on Friday or Thursday night and I said, let me look up what's coming out tomorrow. Let's see what we have to talk about. Let's see what I have to listen to. And let's see what kind of vibes we get. In a million years would I thought that I would run into a Jack Harlow album, because even that, after 2 years of him not releasing any music, is rather rare. But then I noticed that it said Neo Soul. Came in here, I recorded, I made a video, I even copped a plea for Jack. I copped a plea for Jack because I said, you know what? Once your genre reaches the top of the charts, it's just inevitable that everyone in the world is going to want to take a piece of that and create their own version of it. But then those interview clips started coming out, and I couldn't believe my ears. I couldn't believe powder white kid who traditionally is fairly well-spoken and seems composed and understanding of the industry, didn't realize that going on an interview with two other white guys to talk about a neo-soul album and to jokingly say, in any context, I got blacker, was going to land and feel so casually comfortable with the way you're communicating about something you knew people were going to react to. Now, part of this I blame on social media, on the way that things are today, because I find that in a lot of ways, people are just doing things with the intention of going viral, with the intention of creating attention and buzz, because guess what? No matter if I love Jack Harlow and the idea of the whitest guy in Louisville creating a neo-soul album where he's not even rapping what we knew him for, and now he's just kind of like rap singing, which has already been done by Drake, among many others. But then the music isn't bad. It's not a terrible album. You can listen to it. It's about 28 minutes, so it's an easy listen. I could just go and make my breakfast and put on the album. By the time I'm ready to sit down and enjoy my food, the album's done and I can go to watch something else and go on about my day. It's not a groundbreaking album. It's not going to change lives. It's nothing that's going to create anything. But guess what? Whether I'm supportive of Jack Harlow or I'm outraged by the concept of a white guy coming out looking like Common back in 2004 because he wants to be neo-soul, it doesn't really matter, because once I see the news, I'm going to go check out the project. And that, to me, is the problem, is that we're not moving authentically. We're not being ourselves authentically. We're not that many would prefer. Because if you were, you would know that going on that interview and speaking this way to these two other guys wasn't going to land well. So my only conclusion is that you intended to go on this interview and say what you said and the way that you said it to create attention for an album that you had no promotion into. You weren't even allowing people to preview the records because you knew that people weren't going to react cohesively across the board, because we know you as a rapper. Now, my one thing is, what do we actually want? Do we want Jack Harlow to go back in time and never rap as a white guy? Do we want Jack Harlow to go into a country rock or other side of music? Part of me thinks that the reason he did this is because he wanted to go against the grain. Instead of doing what all the other white rappers do besides Eminem, he went the other way, which is what I think he meant by I got blacker. It wasn't, obviously he doesn't think he got darker skin. He just saying that instead of going into white music, he went into a blacker sound, essentially with neo soul being that representation. And by all means, I understand the white sarcasm. It's not reading the room. And as a guy who seems to idolize Drake, it doesn't surprise me that Jack is a stem from the tree of Drake, from the tree of artists that doesn't know how to read a room. From the same guy that's bringing us Iceman, a guy named Jack Harlow brings out neo soul, especially with the album titled Monica. When asked about who Monica is, his answer even leaves so much to be desired because, one, it doesn't seem authentic. It doesn't seem like there's a real reason for Monica besides a marketing ploy, besides somebody in office at Atlantic saying, hey man, I got an idea. Let's name it Monica. Who's Monica? Oh, well, wouldn't you like to know? Maybe he thought it would be funny. Maybe he was sold to do that because it would be clever. If you understand where we're at culturally, like you claim in the interview, then you don't make this move without understanding how it's going to land culturally. Anybody could have told you what the reaction was going to be. So my concern, and I think a lot of people's concerns, not as fans, because I'm not a fan of Jack Harlow by any stretch of the imagination, but our concern is that you knew the reaction. You knew how it was going to land, and you did it anyways, because the reaction is what you want. The reaction is your end goal. Even if the music flops, you're hoping that the reaction gets you enough traction that it justify the means by the end. Again, I came in here last week and I copped a plea for Jack. And I said, hey man, what do we want these white guys to do? Do we want them to go back into alternative? Because even then, people will shit on you. Do you want them to not rap at all? Do we want to avoid everything that the white populace has brought to hip hop, which essentially is elevating it to the number one genre in the world, creating, super megastars like Lil Wayne, Wiz Khalifa, Mac Miller? Like, these are all products of white fandom. When you go to that Under the Influence tour and when you go to these concerts and 80% of the people in the crowd are white, well, maybe hip hop should just stay underground. But, the fact is that hip hop was created and was a product of people not having a voice, and it became the avenue by which their voice was heard. The avenue reached the white demographic to allow the white demographic to, one, become familiar, knowledgeable, and consume the minority experience. But we can't diminish the value of what the white demographic brings to the genre, because the white demographic has brought in and created multi-millionaires on multi-millionaires. That's a double entendre just based on the word for hip hop. So there's value to it. Now, if we say we'd rather not have that, then okay, but then we lose tons of momentum, of foundation, of backbone to what hip-hop is today. This is not a review of the album, and personally, I don't plan on doing too much on this channel that is focused around societal topics. I would love to just focus on the music and to talk about the music and to discuss music and its influences and its artistic integrity or lack thereof. Because obviously, people like the media and people in the media like Adam 22 and academics. I mean, let's be honest, there is such a thing as culture vultures from inside the culture. And we can't act like everyone, just because they have a certain skin tone, means the best for the culture. That's not realistic. Do better. If you want to make a neo soul album, then sit down with somebody that at least, the idea of being in a room with two white guys to talk about something that you are not inherently a part of. I respect the idea that you wanted to create this. I respect the fact that maybe this is the music you like and this is what you enjoy, but you have to be able to create a rollout that doesn't make people feel like they can't like it. because that's what this interview did for me.
Back up on my bullshit like I'm masterminding.